All right. So I'm laying down for this one. So anyway, so I would like to start off by saying the things that's happened over the last 3 to 5-ish years. Now, if you want to know more details about certain things, leave a comment, and then I'll make another video with your comment and talk a little bit more about it, a little bit more thorough. So if you want to know more information, say something in the comments, ask, be communicative. Let me know what you want to know more details of, and then I can share and talk a little bit more about that. But for now, I'm going to try and keep it as short and sweet as possible so I can get through a lot of details quicker. So, the last 3 to 5 years has been very complex, very convoluted for me. So about 5-6 years ago, or close to at this point, I left a job that I was a janitor for. And I don't want to mention the name, but most people that know me in person knows the job that I did. Now, I was very unhealthy when I was working there. Mentally very unstable. I was very, like, the job was just god awful. It was awful. Awful, awful. Most corporate jobs are awful. They only want money and they only care about numbers. They don't give a fuck about you. And the corporate jobs that do give a fuck about you, keep your eyes peeled, man, because they have something in mind for you, because that's the only reason why they're keeping you around for that. Corporate world doesn't give a fuck about anybody but themselves. It's a narcissistic type of relationship that you're in for 8 hours every day for 40 hours a week, sometimes more, depending on the type of job and what you do for a living or what you just do. So I personally just was very unhealthy working there. It was like that place was just not meant for someone like me. Now, I'm going through a lot of shit, right? During that time, I was experiencing some of the worst parts of my life. I was also going through a lot of the really good moments of my life. So it was really all over the place. It was almost like my own spiritual awakening had to happen once I hit rock bottom. Once everything blasted, broke, tore up. The pressure was building. When I was working there, I needed to leave the job. I left the job with false pretenses. The person that I left the job for just fucked me over tremendously. I don't think I can fully heal from what that person did, especially after being left with no answers, not having closure, not being able to talk through what the fuck happened. It was a lot for me to go through, and I had to like pick myself up off the ground, and during that period, my dad passed away. I was going through my dad's passing. Like all of these bad things were happening in my life, like in my physical life, like here at home, like my shower was breaking. It's the only shower that I had. It was like everything was breaking. All of like the big home things were coming through. Like all of these big things were just happening, and it was just a domino effect, and it was so much to deal with. Like I was just at my wit's end. It was very, very difficult to say the least, and I had a lot to have to process and go through just on my own. And I made it. Here we are, right? We made it. So with that said, through these so many years, going through that process, going through having to learn about all of the things that I had to go through, I learned a lot about myself. So with that said, I wanted to heal, right? Nobody wants to be depressed. Nobody wants to be suicidal. I was very suicidal and very depressed. And I was like wanting to take my life during that time. 5 years ago, I literally had a knife to my chest, facing my heart, and I was staring at my fridge, wondering how fast I would have to run into it in order for it to pierce through so I can just be done. That's where I was 5 years ago, right? Horrible, horrible time. I needed help. I didn't have any finances. I didn't have a job because, you know, that person that made me leave left me in the cold. They blocked me and everything, like, and never gave me explanation or reason. And I had to, like, and even when I gave them a chance to face me face to face and speak about it, they didn't. They chose. They made the choices that they did. And they took the coward way out. So I had to get my own closure with all the other chaos that was happening in my life. And once I got my shit together and I found a temporary job, which was also very toxic, I was in fight and flight. And I started listening to books, started listening to podcasts, started trying to learn a little bit more on reprogramming your mind, letting go of things that just don't resonate with you anymore, letting go of old programs that's running your life. I had to reprogram my whole self from the very bottom. To do so is like asking yourself, what do you believe in? Do you believe in God? Okay, well, if you do, what do you believe? What is true to your heart? Not about what others have told you, not about what churches say, not what your parents say or whoever. You need to go by what you feel, what you learned, what you've gone through, your experiences, nobody else's, right? So that's what I had to start doing. I had to start facing, what do I want to believe in? Okay, now that I know what I believe in, what am I willing to do to better my life? What am I willing to sacrifice to have a better life? When you bring in new things, you have to sometimes let go of old because you need space for the new stuff in your life. So I was very unhappy with a lot of the people that were in my life. A lot of friends that I had, family that was around me, family that was like very strong in my life, where if I go to a family get together, they were there all the time, or they were frequently there. And these people, let's say, were very toxic to me because their belief systems were different than mine. My family on my dad's side were very highly Catholic / Christian. A lot of Christians. In my one video that I tried to make that one, so I didn't get to tell you guys. So I don't follow religion. I don't like religion. I refuse to have religion in my life. I grew up Catholic. I had to go through catechism, which we all called it kiddie prison, because it really was. Like, we're being forced to sit in a freaking room listening to somebody to tell you about what the Bible says or what it means when it's all fucking bullshit at the end. All it was just a man-made structure just to basically have control of the populace. Right now, we are just basically living in the new form of the Roman times. You know, even though the Roman times were so horrible and evil, we're just a new version. It's the same pig, just different makeup, in a sense. So, one thing you're gonna learn about me is I'm a pattern recognition person. I'm all about patterns. And when I say I'm all about patterns, these patterns go as deep as getting to know a person, as talking to just one other individual, by looking at your whole entire structure. The reason why I got so good at patterns is because I had to go through my own patterns so deeply. Now, I also went through a lot of trauma. There was a lot of trauma in my childhood that I normalized growing up. Now, a lot of people in my family, they knew that my dad was not well. And when I say that, like, when I was growing up, my dad used to drink a lot. And, you know, it was like alcoholism. It really was. Like, he was an alcoholic during that period. You can't buy 40s a day every day for weeks and months or sometimes years at a time. And when you're drinking that amount, you obviously are masking something within. But with everyone knowing my dad, and if you didn't know my dad was a Vietnam veteran. He fought and helped this country. He literally like shed his blood for this country. And he didn't ask for that. He was drafted. He didn't deserve to be drafted. That war wasn't something that was supposed to even be a thing, but it was. My dad was just in that collateral damage. He was forced to go to the army, and as I mentioned with programs, the army programs someone's mind to be able to withstand war. In war, as we all know, horrible things happen. You see the worst things it's the worst things against humanity that happens in that field. So you have to be mentally structured to be able to withstand and handle such things. And you never leave a war unscathed. Something's going to happen. You're going to come back. You're going to have PTSD. You're going to have a lot of mental issues. Thing is, during that time, during those years, it was different then. We have a lot more technology. We have a lot more knowledge and understanding to people's mental health, to our genome, to, our DNA, the DNA structures, our race, to everything. Like, we have so much information based on the human body and what's going on physically, mentally. Back then, we didn't have that type of info. So my dad had PTSD. He needed a lot of mental help, but he had a lot of pride. So we all struggled growing up in a household with someone that suffered from PTSD. And my poor mom went through hell and back having to deal with him. We all of us as individuals have suffered from my dad's PTSD in our own individual way. My siblings may not have suffered the way I suffered, but I suffered in my own way. We're all built different. We all have different personalities. That's why there's an astral charts. And which, by the way, if you're curious, so I am an Aries. I was born April 7th. And that's my birthday. I was born on Easter Sunday. I feel like that was like one of the only Easter Sundays that I've ever experienced my birthday on. I think it was like maybe one other time, but ever since, like, it's never fallen on Easter Sunday. And I just find it very ironic that there was a lot of jokes and puns regards to when I was born during that time. And a lot of the jokes, when you look back, it's so funny how it connected a lot of dots on what really happened in my life. So, and I'll get to that. I'm trying to merge two different things together so I don't have to repeat the story going back and connecting dots. This way I can just go along and then I don't have to repeat things and go back again. So at least you know where I'm at in my mind going into this. I went through so much with my dad. During that time I was going through a lot at school. So I'm undiagnosed, which I would love to be diagnosed. I would love to be able to see a doctor and go through the whole 9 yards to figuring all of this shit out, because like I know I'm very autistic. And I know I fall on that spectrum. I know I do. And why I know I do strongly, like very strongly. A lot of people that are autistic that have spoken to me, about 90% of them, they've all asked me, hey, are you autistic too? And I'm always like, no, I at least, I mean, I don't think I am, but everyone thinks that I am, right? So it's like, it's funny, and I kind of go with it. But then I came across lots of content that talks about autism, and it connects a lot of dots. It really resonates a lot with me in my soul, and it makes sense to a lot of ways on how I grew up, a lot of the problems and issues that I had growing up as a kid going through school. I was very, very smart on a lot of topics, but I can't learn when I have a bunch of bullies bullying me in the class and treating me like shit and flicking my ears, or, making fun of me like strongly while I'm in recess, or, like we all know how it is in elementary school. But it was very heavy for me. Like, so much, in fact, that a lot of kids used to go out of their way in groups just to push and bully me and laugh and point and, like, literally just go out of their way in games that we were ever doing to bully and make fun of me and make me feel lesser than. And then a lot of kids growing up that I friended when they were brand new to the school, and I would try to be their friend because I knew what it felt like to be alone. I knew what it felt like to be pushed aside, not being understood. And for me being super sensitive, that broke my heart. I felt like I couldn't, talk to anybody. And so I was failing a lot on a lot of classes when I was going through school. Teachers thought that I needed special ed because, I just wasn't getting it, but they weren't getting it because I wasn't in a safe space to be able to learn. I wasn't in a safe space to be able to focus or understand. But I was also struggling a lot at home too. I would go home. My dad was either, drunk and screaming and yelling at certain things and having a PTSD moment, talking about Vietnam. And then if you didn't want to talk about Vietnam, then he would force it and like yell at you even more. And then you would be stuck sitting there listening to stories. Being 5 to 7 years old, shouldn't be told, you from your dad that his best friend got blown up next to him and his flesh and blood was all over him for so many days while they were in a foxhole waiting to be saved from a group of people that were killing them little by little, and like reliving the moment, experiencing it while he's talking about it, being very passionate about it, which I get. I truly being very empathetic. Like, I get it. Because like, who would be able to go through such an experience, and what would anybody be able to tell someone that was going through such an experience to better them in some manner? You know, some people that suffer from PTSD, it's a different thing all in itself. And having to go through being bullied so much in school, and then to come home and not feel safe at home. I was in fight and flight all the time. And I molded myself to being a certain person because I was so scared and fearful of all of this other stuff. But as a kid, I'm not understanding that. And a lot of the behavior that kept happening year after year after year, my whole childhood, you know, you look back and you see these patterns that are constantly going, and you're looping and looping and looping, and it's happening over and over and over. You're just like, you know, it. What do you do? What do you do in a situation like that as a kid? So I started becoming such a little dick, and I was lying to like my mom about like stupid things that was happening in school, but I was in fight and flight. I was scared anywhere I was. I couldn't be home and I couldn't be in school. Those were the two places that were giving me the most trauma. And I felt unsafe. So anytime that I would be able to go to a family's home and be able to stay there was heaven to me. And it was an escape because I was able to be myself with with the families that took me for whatever couple days or a couple hours, and I would be with them, and I was like, I would do anything to get out of that home. I was a ham, you know, I was a ham when I was growing up. I would talk to any stranger. I would get along with almost anybody. Like, I'd go with anybody as long as they're being nice. Like, I was that kid. And it's like, I went through a lot of trauma individually with certain people in my life growing up. Like, looking back, it's just the amount of times where I was actually like molested from kids at my same age, not understanding or knowing that that's what was happening, but it was happening. And it's like that when you normalize this type of behavior and you normalize all of the horrible things that's happening everywhere, you get a thicker skin and you just move on and you mold yourself to being stronger on certain points, but then you ignore the other sides of you and you become weaker and weaker on the sides that you have to feel those emotions that you masked just to protect yourself, being in that fight and flight response. And I went through that for the majority of my life. And after a while, the pressure just builds and builds, and I was ignoring a lot of versions of me that I never wanted to face because I was so scared to do so. And I ended up masking so much that I would like anything that anyone else liked just to be part of something. And I would mask just to get attention from people, just to exist in someone's life, in some, like, just to be around someone that didn't look at me like they wanted to hurt me. They didn't look at me like they wanted to use me, or have to use me to speak about things that I shouldn't have to hear. There was a lot of things that happened when I was growing up that didn't happen to my siblings, but there was a lot of things that happened to my siblings that, oh my God, like, different generations, different times. It's so crazy on the difference between my childhood and my siblings' childhood, depending on who was in the home, what was going on, and the type of traumas and the types of experiences that was going on during the time. Now, by all means, I've had a lot of beautiful memories when I was a kid too. There was a lot of beautiful things that happened. There's a lot of fun things that we can look back, laugh, and just go on for hours about, right? And I'm trying to help you guys, and I'm saying that because I don't want anybody to look at this as this childhood was tainted of all negative. Like, it wasn't. We all go through our own traumas, right? I'm just using my traumas to help people kind of follow and understand what I went through. And maybe if you went through something similar, stay tuned. Maybe a lot of things that I'm going to express in my future videos, or be able to express a little bit more on how I healed through this process, might help you. So this is why I'm sharing my experience. And I'm sharing kind of what I went through to be able to get to where I'm at now. And I'm not trying to do this as a pat on my back, like, oh, congratulations, Mark, you did a great job. That's not the type of attention I'm trying to get at all. What I'm using my experiences as an example for is to help people see the beautiful version within them, the same way that I got to see the beautiful version that I have inside me. A lot of these programs that we are running in our minds, we don't think twice on what we're really doing. So I hope sharing a lot of this might help you look back into your life and be able to kind of connect your own dots to what you're experiencing now and why, and help maybe connect the dots from your childhood, the unhealed versions of you that you never got to really fully heal from because you never fully understood why you were experiencing what you're experiencing. And we don't get owner manuals on how to heal through trauma. You just sometimes just got to figure it out yourself, or get the mental help that professionals can do for you. And by all means, I'm not a professional. Yes, I've done my research and I've learned, and I guess I'm doing a great job because, I mean, I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm doing the work. Now I'm at that stage where I want to be able to express and show my work. I want to be able to help others to be able to experience this beautifulness that we all can have. And I want to also be able to help everybody reach their own goals the same way that I'm reaching mine. I want to be able to help people connect dots on how this physical reality that we're living in, as science, as quantum physics has all proven to us, this physical reality that we're experiencing isn't real. So if it isn't real, and we want to go by religion, your own religion, if you do have it, or spirituality, if you are spiritual in different ways, we all know that our soul is only here in this physical body to be able to have experiences in this life. So, since we're here to have these experiences in our life, our souls are here to have that through this body going through this physical reality. So this reality not being real, then it kind of makes you wonder. It's kind of like putting a VR headset on your face and playing a game. And in that game, you create an avatar, you do it all, and here you are in your physical life. So your soul is basically just your soul in this body is just a fractal. It's like a piece of you. And your full version is somewhere else, doing this with all of your other lives at the same time, which is pretty freaking cool. So that's the reason why when you have past lives or future life regressions, you are experiencing these other lives because these other lives are happening right now, just as this life is happening right now. And you are able to flip from the future and the past of that one life. So when you're having a past life regression, you can bounce 10 years in the future, or you can bounce back 5 years. You are able to guide the person. If you are the regressionist, you can guide the client through having it like in the past or the future of that life that they are experiencing. You are the guide. You're guiding them through the experience. So when you look at all of the lives that are happening, and the fourth dimension, that's time. It represents time. It represents like everything that's all happening all at once. It's fathoming and understanding that everything is happening at once. So all of your lives are happening at once. Everything is. The third dimension, it has linear time. So linear time, as we know it, it works the way we have it in like calendar. But even some of that is questionable because a lot of that stuff was man-made. And everything that's man-made isn't usually perfect, to say the least. History has shown that we're not perfect. But that's the reason why we grow and evolve, because we learn from our mistakes, or at least those that are thriving to bettering themselves and learning and putting in that work, while others, they're just living comfortably, passing by, doing the normal kind of life, and that's fine too. You know, we're all here experiencing our own lives, right? We all are trying to experience Earth in our own way, and that's okay. We are all vibing different. We're all having different experiences, and that's just how life is. So I want to be able to stop here because I can continue, but I want to be able to get back to showing why this all intertwines. And maybe you'll understand why I started to learn a little bit quicker to where I was going in life. Now, going back to elementary time, I basically was going through that own trauma. I was molding myself, trying to form a thicker skin on certain things, normalizing this behavior when we shouldn't, because there's got to be accountability, right? Someone can't dump trauma on you and then walk away without accountability. It just doesn't work that way, because karma, it happens one way or another. You're going to take accountability one way or another. So it just depends in the moment. How do you want to be able to handle the situation? If you harmed or hurt that person, apologize, especially if you know that you did it and you said it and you're like, fuck, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Okay, well then own up to it at that moment. Once you know it, own up to it. Say something. Because if you don't and you just sit with it, you lost that opportunity in the moment, which is okay. There's always other opportunities, right? So you sit with it. But if you really know and you're doubling down, tripling down on the fact that, you went too far, or you did this, or you said that, or whatever the case is, you are doing right by facing this situation. Because a lot of people, they just run with everything they say and do and don't give a shit. Those people you have to be careful with. Because it doesn't matter who you are, they will stomp on you just to get what they want. Because if they don't look for accountability, that means that they don't care about anyone besides themselves. Careful with those people. So accountability, if you are able to handle that at that very moment, then that's something that you should really do. Face it, understand it. Maybe if you went too far, ask yourself why. Maybe you were triggered over something they said or done. Maybe that trigger response brought back a memory of many other people that have done something similar, that have caused you to be so defensive towards a situation in that manner. It could have been a numerous amount of things, but it's up to you as your own individual, because you are the only one that's going to be able to understand your physical body the best. Nobody else can. So taking accountability is perfect for that. But we don't have this when we're kids, right? We don't know any of this, so we don't understand accountability. So when people are dumping this trauma on you and you're just normalizing this behavior and just, oh, this is fine, this is good, right? You just bring it in, you deal with it, harden your skin. I got this, let's keep going. You do that for such a long time, and then when you become an adult and you get into relationships with people and these people are triggering you, now you feel like you have to either control the situation and to prevent them from not doing that to you, which that can lead to a lot of narcissistic stuff, which when I look back, I can definitely see like a lot of the narcissistic tendencies that I had. And I wasn't doing it because I was like wanting to control the people. I was doing it because I was trying to control whatever situation so I didn't get hurt from that. But looking back, I can see how wrong that was. But that's what I was doing. And there's no excuse for stuff like that, right? You have to take accountability. So taking accountability is having to face those inner demons, understanding why you did that, connecting those dots of those triggers, understanding those emotions. And honestly, when you really do look back, sometimes when you're doing it, it's usually it stems from childhood. It stems from that because that's usually when you start molding yourself from everyone around you. This life isn't easy a lot of times, and we get lost in the sauce. This reality not being real, we have entertainment getting thrown in our faces everywhere. Entertainment as in this. People that are watching us, taking all this time, almost like 39 minutes if you made it through so far, to actually learn about this stuff and learn about what I went through and how I processed it. Trying to look at it where, wow, okay, maybe he got his shit together, whatever perspective you want to look at, or maybe you look at him and be like, wow, this motherfucker lost it, like he's gone, like bye, and that's fine too, is what it is, right? So here's the thing. when I didn't have this knowledge and I was going through trying to understand what was happening to me and being in fight and flight over and over again, molding myself like a fucking onion because I need to protect myself from all of this stuff that's happening. I can see why, as an adult, all of those triggers that I have when someone says something or does something that got me really mad. When you really start dissecting on how much control you have of your physical self, you have all the control. You're getting mad at something or you're feeling negative about something, it is your fault because you're allowing it. You have it in your space. You're allowing it. Some way, some shape, form, you are allowing this to happen in your reality. Because in some way, some manner, deep down inside, you haven't healed from something that is holding you back from living life to your fullest. So we have to, as individuals, start taking accountability, understanding why we're feeling these emotions inside ourselves, and really pinpointing and understanding these traumas and understanding these trigger responses and being able to fully start healing your inner child, start learning and understanding that version of you don't have to protect yourself anymore like that. And you can give love to that inner child that didn't have these tools and knowledge and didn't have that support that they needed during that time to help you through a process like that. You're able to actually put all of this stuff together as an adult now, and you're able to start dissecting this and understanding your true emotions, your true self. Once you start healing more, you'll start being able to process your triggers a little bit easier. You're going to start processing why you're feeling the things that you're feeling during that moment. Once you start getting more in tune with yourself so fully that when you start feeling negative emotions around people and you know you're not feeling emotional about anything negative, so why are you feeling that way? And usually when you look around you, the crowd that you're around, you can kind of pinpoint where it's coming from, who it is. You start developing these skills from all of the trauma that you go through because you start learning the patterns and the loops, and you're in fight and flight trying to get out of those patterns and loops. Once you get out of it and you're trying to protect yourself from all of that stuff, but then when you start healing, the patterns are still there. But what's beautiful is that now you have a choice, because now you know how you feel about the problems and issues that you went through that got you to where you are. So now you can actually ask yourself, do you still want that in your space? Now that you know what's wrong, now that you know that the problems on why you're feeling hurt are there, do you still want that in your space? Sometimes it's complicated. You got family, you don't want to, like, you love them, but you respect them, you respect their choices, you respect their beliefs, you respect that, right? But when sometimes your peace, after healing through all of the trauma, after putting all of that work, after really facing the worst of the worst deep down inside you, once you finally feel that peace and love that you have for yourself, you don't want to lose it. And then you start looking around in your life and all of the people around you just don't resonate with you anymore. The topics are just different. They hit different. A lot of the things that you were into you're not really into it much anymore. Why? Because the only reason why you were into it in the first place was due to the things that you just healed from. So it just doesn't hit anymore. It's just different. You feel different. And you should. Because you're little by little letting go of those versions of you that no longer is needed because you finally healed. It's no longer the weight that you're carrying on your shoulders. And once you start feeling lighter and lighter as you start healing and letting go of all of the trauma, you start loving it more and more. And you start looking at it where you're like, I want the challenge. So sometimes you'll be in that mood where you want to dig into those triggers. So when someone triggers you and you actually get mad, you're going to be like, oh, I feel that trigger. But you don't need to let that person know. You could just be like, you could acknowledge in your mind, like, I feel a trigger. Let's figure out why. So ask questions to that person about that topic if you need to. Figure out really why it's so triggering. Sometimes maybe a little bit more information based on their side of things or their perspective is triggering you so much deep down inside based on whatever program you have, because it's going against it. It's like a virus, right? Your ego, which is your physical body, being in fight and flight, wants to protect you from whatever you deem is harm. And if someone that's harming your feelings, hurting you in any manner, it's a threat to your physical body. So human instinct, the human body is going to react. But as someone that has a little bit more intelligence, emotional intelligence, now you get to stop yourself from feeling that way emotionally when you're triggered. And sometimes you start realizing that those triggers are happening because whoever's causing it doesn't belong in your space anymore. Those that truly love you should really just genuinely be able to just vibe with you fully, and should be able to just live life with you, co-creating with you, with the right vibe, with the right morals, with like the same, all of that. Like, that's how life should be with the loved ones in your life. But if people in your life are making choices, decisions, and going against the morals that you have, and they start, they're different. You could just feel different. Like, you're just like, wow, I don't feel the vibe anymore from these people. It happens because the more you heal, the more you start letting go of that old baggage, the old versions, all of the molding that you created over all those years, protecting yourself from all the trauma that you've experienced without even realizing it. And once you start letting go of all of the stuff, your mental mind is letting that go, right? Because you're understanding it. But now your physical reality needs to process, and it's like it needs to reboot because now you're thinking different. Everything's energy. And I've always said that in all my videos. Your thoughts are energy. Your words are energy. That's the reason why they call it spelling. You're spelling. You're casting spells with your words, and your thoughts are creating it. So when you actually make action and you speak about it, knowing this, Now you're doing an action, which means now there's going to be a reaction. There's going to be the ripple. You're causing the ripple. And within that ripple, it's going to affect everyone differently. It's not up to you to take their negativity based on how they reacted to your ripple. Because those that vibe with you, it's not a ripple. They just go with the flow. They vibe. You start realizing those that are around you don't vibe with you, and you do start letting go of so many people. And that's what I did over the years. Now, I know when it comes to politics, we got to understand that politics was a man-made creation to help keep division upon people. There is literally bad things happening on both sides. And it's just a division, just to keep us from being mean and mad and angry and to project on the other side based on their thoughts, opinions, and religion, and this and this and that. And it's like, it's all it's made to literally to keep people divided. Religion was man-made to keep a lot of people divided. There's so much division in the world, and there's so much hatred, so much racism, so much everything, just because all the people that wanted to create these old systems that are clearly dying around us right now. We are all going to go through this awakening together. We're all learning a lot of truth that's coming up. A lot of people, we've all kind of known this was going to happen. Just because we know doesn't make it any easier to go through your emotions through all of this. So a lot of us are feeling it. A lot of us are going through it. And I'm with you all. I have been going through a lot of emotions through everything going on. I live in the US. Whoever and wherever you're watching this from, this has been very rough living here. I have been very emotional about a lot of the stuff that's been going on. It's very sad. But we have to understand that it's all part of the division. These emotions, these negative emotions we feel, it all leads to our triggers, our own individual triggers, because we all have had similar experiences when it comes to generational trauma. So we could all share a lot of similar things. Our ancestors, let me tell you, will be so proud of you when you start going through your healing. They will love you so much because you'll be able to heal through a lot of the trauma that they never got to, which is why it was passed down. These generations that are coming in, they're not to fuck with. We are all generations to the degree where we're breaking down a lot of the generational traumas. We're stopping it because a lot of these old programs and old systems that have programmed us to believe in this and to say this and to do this, to be this, and to get money, you have to be there and to do that. And it's all programs that we get from the moment we are out of our mothers. Our religion is put on us. A whole belief system. Like, if you look at how, like, my dad he wasn't like the greatest when it came to all races. So, and again, looking at all of his trauma, we can all sit and be like, we get it, if you want to normalize that behavior. But we have to also, again, take an accountability, because we have to also face the fact that it was wrong. My dad used to say a lot of bad things about a lot of things, a lot of different types of people, but a lot of that was normalized. As I was getting older, I was just against it. And my dad and I always clunked heads all the time. I challenged my dad all the time because I was not having the behavior. I didn't like the way that a lot of that stuff was said. I would stand up to him based on my belief and based on my thoughts, and he didn't like that. So when I used to challenge my dad when he was feeling low, if I was there, I was a good target. So I went through a lot. And when I got out of that home, I told myself I can't ever go back. I could never, ever go back. It was really rough when I was going through living in the household. A lot of things happened that made me very angry. And I wasn't able to speak fully how I felt a lot of times. I held in so much. And after literally unmolding myself and allowing myself to feel and to be, to love myself for who I was, and letting go of that version that I thought I needed to be because I had to protect myself from stuff that's clearly no longer here. Life tends to kind of let loose a little bit. You are able to heal and let it go, but the patterns, they don't go away. So when other people start coming into your space after you've healed through some crazy patterns through your life with whatever experiences that you've gone through, that person has another thing coming, because you're going to see that a mile away. And depending on how much you know and how much you've healed, like someone like me, I love playing their game. I want them to keep giving me everything. Because the ones that talk, they give you all that you need to know. All you got to do is smile, be nice, listen, remember. Watch the patterns, repeat. But every time when they repeat, you'll know what to do, because you'll already understand what you don't want in your space due to what you've healed from. Because you're going to love yourself so much once you heal, and that peace inside, you're not going to want people around your space that's going to fluff that away and get you all messed up. You work too hard to let people just walk all over you now. You love yourself and you know your self-worth. You're going to get what you deserve, right? Those people don't deserve you if they can't unconditionally love you for who you are. And if you feel some kind of negative way around someone, that's your physical body telling you that there's something wrong. And you should look into it. Try and understand why this person is making you feel that way. A lot of times we have programmed ourselves because a lot of times generational trauma stuff, pick up your bootstraps. You got to keep moving forward. You got to get stronger, get a thicker skin. All of that shit is a program that they were told because they had to do that to be able to survive, because they were all stuck in those programs trying to live and survive, fight and flight, because we were all there. We've all experienced it. Some of us were lucky and we didn't really have to. Kudos to them. But don't underestimate those souls, because they might have had it rough on many other lives, and maybe this life, it was supposed to be easy. It was supposed to be beautiful for them, because all of their other lives are probably experiencing the most crazy shit ever. So don't judge the book by its cover kind of thing, especially soul to soul. A lot of times we might allow our own physical ego get the best of us, our physical body ego get the best of us. And we might think back and be like, oh, that person, they're probably like a new soul here. They don't know what they're talking about. It's not about that. It's just the fact that maybe they are a new soul, but for the most part, we all came from the same source. Maybe that soul didn't have very many experiences on Earth. Maybe all of their experiences were based on other planets and other universes and other existences, with other laws and physics, with other types of bodies. That our human body has 5 senses, and the way we experience those experience those 5 senses, it's all different from everybody based on the emotional body that we have. So clearly, if, let's say, one person is standing next to you and you both experience a car crash in front of you, you both are going to experience a similar experience, but in different perspectives. Because one person might face and watch the driver the whole entire time and will miss all of the stuff that the car went through, while the other person might pay attention to all of the stuff that the car went through and totally just missed everything that the driver did. But with both of their perspectives, both of those puzzle pieces create a bigger picture. Which is why investigations and police, they like to be able to talk one-on-one with everybody, because they want to be able to see everybody's perspective, because it gives a lot more puzzle pieces to the picture. Now, you got to look at that as every single aspect of your life, micro to the macro. Small as in just a small little conversation with someone, to the information that they give you, what they say about themselves based on their actions and what they do. Because at the end of the day, if someone isn't matching what they think, what they say, and what they do, then there's something kind of wrong within them. They got to heal from something. But that projection that they do, that reaction that they do to you based on your action, if it's negative, maybe it might be negative in your perspective and it might be kind of positive in theirs. Maybe they might look at it as, hey, I said what I said. I meant it. Now what? What are you going to say that's going to make them go, oh, yeah, you're right. Totally. And carry on. Let's be logical. We got to face the truth. You are programmed different. And the reason why you're programmed different is because you grew up in a different house, different family, different structure, different religion, different experiences, like different hobbies, different professions. We're all different. We all are a puzzle piece to what we call life. Right now, like I said earlier, we're all very divided in like chunks. We're trying to get together. We got to start building community and being there for one another. We got to start understanding where a lot of our pain comes from. Start healing, start understanding and growing. Start giving yourself patience to just look through the emotions that you're going through. Look through the triggers that you're experiencing day to day. Start small. Start with like one. Sit with it for a couple days before you hit another. Don't challenge yourself too much. You owe yourself to be better and get better, but you don't owe yourself more pain and misery, and you don't need to judge yourself anymore. You can start giving yourself more love, more gratitude. Most of all, which is kind of something I lack in, sadly, is giving gratitude to the universe that they gave you such a beautiful life for you to be able to have an experience to grow in. And now that you have tools and knowledge to kind of help and understand what you're going through inside, maybe you'll be able to start healing and growing a little bit more based on all of those experiences. And then between me and you growing, doing the same kind of work, we'd be able to put our puzzle pieces together, co-create, speak our truths, and sooner or later, other people will learn to be able to speak their truth and learn their true self just based on their own healing. We all start learning and growing. We start building communities. We start helping one another, start loving one another, respecting each other. Most of all, having an open heart for those, even if they challenge your own belief system or challenge you and your perspectives. Like I said, I'm open to people that would like to challenge that. That's fine, but I'm not going to... It's not an open challenge to where I'm going to play along with someone that is only feeding off of wanting a debate or an argument, wanting to find a way to put me down or treat me like crap, because I can tell when they're projecting based on the words that they're using. And you can believe it or not, I do feel energy behind some words, especially depending on the person. Because I usually know where someone is in their journey based on just your body language, your tone of voice, the way you come on to me, how you speak to me, the things that you bring up, the things you talk about, the stuff that you focus on based on the things that you talk about. I can clearly tell where you are in your journey, what you're experiencing in the moment, and moving forward, what you're saying and doing, and how you're going to probably project onto me based on all of the pattern recognition that I've had through my whole entire life, based on all the experiences that I've gone through, based from all of the healing that I gave myself. So it's no longer really a curse knowing so much. It's more of a blessing being able to share it with others. So it doesn't really have to be all this crazy cool knowledge. It's all basic knowledge. The way I see it is everything that I know, it's universal knowledge, right? Source energy. It's all what you connect your focus on. The last 5 years of my life, this has all been my focus, is self-love, self-healing, learning about trauma, learning about consciousness, learning about, soul journeys, learning about Dolores Cannon and all of her work that she's done, regression work, all of it. Like, oh my God, I've gone through so much rabbit holes, so much research. Every day of my life, it was just breathing, talking, thinking. Everything was all of this. So this is why now I'm coming out. I'm here now. And I'm showing myself more. And I want to be able to start helping people grow and learn how to find their own inner peace and love. We're all different, but we all come from the same source. Therefore, if you really resonate with the things that I speak and talk about moving forward, stay tuned. Hit a like. Enjoy the content. Share it. Help others experience it. And we can all grow and learn from one another. Because at the end of the day, we're all teachers and students. We're all growing and learning from one another. Nobody is better than the other. We're just all puzzle pieces connected to the same picture. And that's all we're doing is exploring this world, just trying to find one another. And I'm sure we are all feeling the shift, the change. It's almost like the shuffle, trying to find all of our big puzzle pieces and connecting them all, right? It's like finding that all of these people that don't resonate are falling out, and all of these people that do resonate and that are more they're like-minded are finding ways of coming into your life. And now you're just like, wow, where have these people been this whole time? And you may not have that right now. Maybe it might be the next year or 2 years from now, 5 years from now. I don't know. We're all in our journey in a different place, right? I mean, I'm not no guru. I don't know any of this. Like I tell everybody, I know a little bit of a lot of things, but I'm not a master at any of it. And I'm not a healer. I don't heal people, but I do help people heal themselves. And I can give energy to help boost their own healing within themselves. That I'm good at. Sorry. As you can see, he's a very sleepy dog. He's had such a rough day. Just sleeping all day in a bed. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot that I will be able to teach people, and I'm excited and I can't wait. There's such a new version of me. I do have boundaries now. A lot of people that used to know me would be able to use me, walk all over me, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll do this. Yeah. All because the sake of, like I said, I used to just do whatever for attention when I was just so unhealed. I was like a wreck. I didn't want to be within myself. I didn't want to be alone. I wanted to have all these friends. I wanted to have all these people, all these connections. I wanted to be around all of these people. So I loved cosplay. I used to be at conventions. Oh my God, it was so much fun. And then I masked. So I had like a different, I was cosplaying a character. Like I was like role playing a character and not being me. So I was able to get away from the unhealed version of me because I couldn't be by myself because I was so unhealed, right? Like it was just everything that I said, like all about this whole video. So it's just crazy on how much things connect for you when you do the work and you start being like, wow, now this stops here, like now I'm changed. And a lot of the people that come back into your life after so many years, they don't resonate a lot of times. And you're just kind of like, well, you start being able to see the patterns because you've gone through it all. You now know the patterns, your self-worth, your love, your peace, all of that. So you're trying to align that with the like-minded people because at least that way you can build community. That way you can create a network. That way you can build a better life and reality, not for yourself, but for others that are looking for the same. And building a family and finding your soul tribe and being able to build the most beautiful friendships and relationships with people that you'd ever meet in your life that were literally just doing the exact same that you were, just living day by day, fight and flight, trying to heal their own traumas, trying to go through their own shit. So I hope my experiences help you understand your own. And it helps you understand how to face those fears, understanding your triggers, and actually giving yourself the space to understand and learn and grow through those emotions. Because I'm going to tell you right now, like it or not, life is going to get more complicated for those that want to keep masking. Because we're moving into a stage as a collective, as a human race, we're all moving into a stage where truth is kind of coming out. And so structures fall. This is like the tower effect, right? This is when a lot of people are going to start getting their spiritual awakening because a lot of their belief systems are crumbling. A lot of the money that they put into things are not going to be the same. A lot of people are going to start facing a lot of stuff that might be very difficult, and that's normal. And our emotions are valid. Like, you should go through those emotions if you're going to be mad and angry and all this stuff, right? So go through it, but be responsible. Don't project. Don't do that onto others, because if they're reacting in a negative way, just make sure that you take accountability. Understand that just because you're upset or mad about something specific, you might be going to an audience where they absolutely love it. And if they come back to you in a negative response, be mindful. Understand where they're coming from before you react. Feel out that ripple that they caused based on their projection. That also means you have to do it to yourself. So that's why you think before you speak. Think about how you're feeling and why this trigger is going through you. Understand and try to connect those dots before you react. Because after you react, now you have to take more accountability than what you should have in the first place. Hopefully that helps. Again, make a comment, say something, let me know what you want more of, and I can be able to help. I also want to say one more thing. before I finish this video. I am going to keep all of my content that I have on this platform there. I used to be a very big Overwatch fan, and I played with a lot of friends. And there was a lot of times I didn't play with anybody, and I used to make content and post them on this YouTube. They were fun times. It was a time where I was able to mask and get away from the unhealed version of me. It was fun times being able to play and to have something to get away from, you know, the real life when it got hard. So hopefully you get to learn a little bit more. Please understand, if you haven't been in my life for the last so many years, I am a very different person. And respectfully, if we don't resonate, that's okay. And I'm not holding that against anybody. I'm not mad or upset with any of that. Like, I respect you fully. But just know that I love myself and my space and my peace so much. I will be very bluntly clear, like, if I'm starting to have some issues, you know? Like, for example, y'all know I'm fucking gay, right? You don't know? You do now. So let's say we're hanging out. You can't be calling me all of these gay slurs or saying them in front of me and expect me to just stand there and be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Even though you are disrespecting what I represent. Don't kind of fly with me. And if it is a program that you are running in your mind because it's just something you say over and over, but if you're around me in my space and I correct you and you do it again and again, those patterns, I don't fucking play. When you repeat a pattern with me, you're done. If I allowed you to do it and I tried to correct it and then you repeat it, it's already a no-go. I'm already done. Your rank of my priorities has sunk. I'm not going to put as much energy into that cup. Because if that cup is not pouring into mine, I'm not going to pour into theirs. I make sure that those that are in my space, respectfully so, are in my space. But those that are in my space and they're here to learn and to understand a lot of this stuff and this is just all my perspective based on my experiences and knowledge and what I've learned and grown through from mentors or people that I've gone to or things that I've learned from them. You know, obviously I'm not going to teach everybody every single detail of everything that I've ever learned, because holy shit, like I don't have time for that. But I do have time to teach everybody like some of the more basic stuff. And that's what I'll do. I'll be able to teach more basic stuff. And again, with communication based on my audience, then that can help me build my platform the way it needs to be. Teaching people the content that they're seeking and they want to know. But when I start noticing the pattern repeating and it happens again, then at least I can just be like, I already made a few videos of that back at whatever. So then they can go back and rewatch that. So I don't have to repeat myself and have to put energy into that. So I'm trying to grow a platform teaching people this knowledge that I have But I have to also respect my own space and my own peace doing so. So I'm trying to allow people in my space to learn about me more, but also to learn and grow through the tools and knowledge that I'm willing to give on a lot of the stuff that I've learned. I would like to do classes. I would like to be able to teach people a lot of this stuff. I would love to like quit my 40-hour job and do a lot of this stuff for a living. So I mean, I would love to be able to obviously make money and doing stuff. And I'm got a lot under my belt. I can do literally tarot readings, oracle readings. I can be a spiritual medium. I channel beings from other sides, other dimensions. I can do it as I'm awake or sometimes when I'm under regressions. I can also do regression work. I've done past life regressions from people. I've been capable of helping people heal through chakras. I've done lots of stuff. I don't have as much experience in it because I don't really have people that come to me for it. But I would love to gain more experience. But I would also love to get paid for my time and doing this kind of stuff. Because it's not easy on my end. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of my time doing a lot of this type of work, and that doesn't come for free. So if people want to learn and start growing, I'm going to start having to find ways to making a class. And if like 10 people are going to join, and I'm not going to make these classes freaking expensive. Don't get me like, they're going to be some cheap classes because I have so much to teach. And I can do more basic classes to more advanced classes. And I'm excited to be able to do stuff like this. So I'm down with it. If I have the audience and they're willing to learn and they want to do all of this, like I'm so down. Like, let's do it. Let's do it. But we need to y'all need to tell me what you want to learn, and I'll start teaching. I'll start making classes. I'll start doing all of it. And if I don't know how, bet your ass I will learn. Because that's all I do. I love challenges. So when someone comes up to me and they're like, oh, do you know about such and such? And I'm like, and I don't know. And I literally have to be like, no, I don't know anything about that. When they walk away, I'm Googling it. I'm trying to figure out, like, what is that? And then if it's, like, something where I'm like, that's interesting. Rabbit holes, man. I dive deep. And when I want to learn something, remember when I told you I'm a critical thinker? So, like, if I'm going to learn something about someone or something or some place or whatever, I bet your ass I'm going to learn as much as I can. I'm going to learn as much as I can, and I want to learn it from other people. I want to get other people's perspectives. I want to be able to all the puzzle pieces, right? All the puzzle pieces connected to one big picture, and that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. I want the picture. So I want unbiased information, and that's what I look for. I always dissect things so thoroughly, and I'm so much in my head a lot of times because of it, and it's my own problem a lot of times because it gets in my own way. But I challenge everything of my own being all the time, and I'm very open-minded, and I'm willing to challenge things that I believe in all the time. But I also, with the challenge comes the challenge. So I'm not going to just let someone waltz by and be like, oh, you like challenges? Well, I disagree with this and this and this, and because I don't like this and this, and they're going to start projecting just because they want to challenge. And I'm like, you're beneath me at that point, because I'm not going to feed into a negative projection. That stops there. That person clearly does not belong in my space because they're already being rude and disrespectful. And also not doing their research, understanding who the fuck they're talking to. So, hopefully, if you've made it this far, thank you. And hopefully I see you in the next coming videos, and I get to start teaching everybody a bunch of things. I'm going to start bringing in talking about timelines and talking about how timelines really work. I want to start talking about just energy work and how energy exists everywhere, how your thinking is energy, your words are energy, your actions are energy, your emotions are energy. And putting that all together helps manifest and create your reality, which is why a lot of times when there's negative things happening, it's based on negative things that you've created over the years, months, weeks, minutes, hours, whatever, on however long it was to create that, based on how much emotion, thought, words, actions that you've put into it to manifest it to be so powerful. Like, I would love to teach everybody all of this stuff. So I'm going to start making just basic videos talking a little bit about some of this stuff. And through those videos, y'all, you want to dive deep and you want to ask deeper questions and you want to know more things, please ask. I would love to talk more about it. I love these topics and I have so much knowledge about so many things. And a lot of the knowledge that I have, a lot of it is just what I resonated with based on knowledge that I came across of a he said, she said. A lot of it isn't factual. So it's one of those things where you take what resonates and leave the rest. If you don't want to believe in a lot of the stuff I say, please don't believe that what I say then. I want you to follow your heart, follow what is true to you and what means, and follow that journey, because I don't want to take anything from you. But if you're here and you're listening and you are curious and you're going to keep going and continuing, you're feeling something, my friend. And it ain't just me. I think it's the cord that I'm pulling based on what I'm speaking about, because you know it stands so true in your heart and you feel that there's that truth inside. Stick around, because there's a lot coming, because I can't wait to start talking about all of the more advanced topics. But until then, have yourself a beautiful rest of your day, night, morning, whenever you're watching this. This is all timeless. And I love you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for giving yourself time and being true to yourself, giving time for yourself to start learning and growing, and start giving yourself the boundaries and others' boundaries to help yourself find more love, support, and peace within. So until then, I'm sending you all so much love, so much gratitude. Bye for now.